Mantra Sadhana. In the Gayatri Tantra, it is said, that is called mantra by the meditation on which the jiva acquires freedom from sin, enjoyment of heaven and liberation, and by the aid of which he attains in full the fourfold fruit. Elsewhere it is said, mantra is so called because it is achieved by mental process. The man of mantra comes from the first syllable of manana, or thinking, and tra from trana, or liberation from the bondage of the samsara, or phenomenal world. By the combination of man and tra, that is called mantra, which calls forth the four aims of being. A mantra is composed of letters. Letters and their combinations as syllables and words are all forms of manifested shabda, that is, Brahman forms. They are each and all forms of the creative stress, as uttered by the mouth, heard by the ear, and apprehended by the mind. But what are ordinarily called mantras are those particular sounds which are used in worship and practice, that is sadhana, which consist of certain letters, or letters arranged in a definite sequence of sounds, of which the letters are the representative signs. The relations of varna, nada, bindu, vowel and consonant in a mantra constitute the Devata in varying forms. Certain vibhuti, or aspects of the Devata, are inherent in certain varnas. The mantra of a Devata is that letter or combination of letters which reveals the Devata to the consciousness of the sadhaka who has evoked it by Sadhana Shakti. The form of a particular Devata therefore appears out of a particular mantra of which that Devata is the Adhistatri Devata. This mantra is intoned in the proper way according to letter or varna and rhythm or swara. For these reasons, a mantra when translated ceases to be a mantra, that is, the sounds heard and uttered in the translation are not the body of, and do not evoke the Devata. We are then not dealing with the same sound, but with a random translation in another language, with other sounds, giving the meaning to the intellect of the Sanskrit mantra. This shows that mantra is not mere individual thinking, but a particular sound body of consciousness. A particular mantra, therefore, such as the Gayatri, is not a mere collection of works. Though to a non-believer it may seem but a string of mere letters bearing on their face a particular meaning, or, in the case of bija mantras, apparently no meaning at all, to the sadhaka it is a very mass radiant of tejas or energy. An ordinary collection of words is something gross. These, as all else, are forms of Shakti. But the mantra of which we speak is the Devata himself or herself in mantra body. Mantra is thus a mass of radiant energy. Sayings give information and advice to men of the world, whilst mantras awaken superhuman power or Shakti. A mere saying is therefore like jiva, subject to birth and death, whilst a mantra is directly Brahman, in sound body, unwasting and undecaying. A mantra again is not the same thing as prayer or self-dedication. Prayer is conveyed in what words the worshipper chooses and bears its meaning on its face. It is only ignorance of Shastric principle which supposes that mantra is merely the name for the words in which one expresses what one has to say to the divinity. If it were, the sadhaka might choose his own language without recourse to the eternal and determined sounds of Shastra. Shabda is Shakti. The Vishvara Tantra, Chapter 2, says that Shabda Brahman, which is mantra, exists in the body of Jiva and is the subtle aspect of the Jiva's vital Shakti. As the Prapanchasara Tantra states, the Brahmananda or spheroid universe is pervaded by Shakti as Dhvani, called Nada, Prana and the like. The manifestation of the gross, meaning sthula form of Shabda would not be possible unless Shabda existed also in a subtle or Shukshma form. Shabda is the guna of Akasha, but is not produced by it. It manifests in it, and Shabda Swarupa is the Brahman. In the same way, however, as in outer space waves of sound are produced by movements of air or Vayu, so in the space within the Jiva's body, waves of sound are produced according to the movements of the vital air, that is, prana vayu, and the process of inhalation and exhalation. The Shabda which first appears in the Muladhara is in fact the Shakti which gives life to the Jiva. The Jiva who inbreathes and outbreathes utters a great mantra. This is the Ajapa mantra or Hamsa, called Ajapa, because it repeats itself naturally without any effort on the part of the Jiva. It is the heaving of the Dhvani which causes alternate inspiration and expiration. Shakti it is who is the cause of the sweet, indistinct, and murmuring Dhvani, which sounds like the humming of black bees. This sound is para, and when Pashyanti becomes subtle as Madhyama and gross as Vaikari. Kundalini, who is Varnamayi and Dhvanimayi, is the manifestation in bodies of the Paramatma. So the substance of all, mantra, is Chit, manifested as letters, symbols, words, and their sentences. In fact, the letters of the alphabet which are known as Aksara are nothing but the yantra of the Akshara or imperishable Brahman. It is the gross or sthula form of Kundalini appearing in different aspects as different devatas, which is the presiding devata of all mantra, though it is in the subtle or shukshma form at which all sadhakas aim. For in every mantra there are two Shaktis, the Vachya Shakti and the Vachaka Shakti. The Devata who is indicated, that is, the Pratipadya Devata, as the ultimate Swarupa is the Vachya Shakti, and the Devata who is that mantra, that is, Mantramayi Devata, is the Vachaka Shakti. Thus, if Durga is the Devata of a mantra, Then the Mahamaya is the Vachya Shakti. The latter is without attribute, and Vachika Shakti with attribute. The latter is the object of worship and is a support and means whereby the Vachya Shakti is realized. For worship assumes as its object some form. When the Shakti with attribute, resident in and as the mantra, is by dint of sadhana awakened, then she opens the gate of monistic truth, revealing the true nature and essence of the universe. Thus, there are two Shaktis, the mantra Shakti and the sadhana Shakti, that is, the Shakti of the sadhaka generated by sadhana. It is the uniting of these two Shaktis which accomplishes the fruit of mantra sadhana. How? The Saguna Shakti is awakened by sadhana and worshipped. This Saguna Devata is the presiding deity of the mantra, as the Nirguna or formless Ishwara or Ishwari is the Vachya Shakti. Both are one, but the Jiva, by the laws of his nature and its three gunas, must first meditate on the gross or stula form before he can realize the subtle or shukshma form, which is liberation. The utterance of a mantra without knowledge of its meaning or of the mantra method is a mere movement of the lips and nothing more. The mantra sleeps. There are various processes preliminary to and involved in its right utterance, which processes again consist of mantra, such as purification of the mouth, that is mukha shodhana, purification of the tongue, or jiliva shodhana, and of the mantra, or aushaka bhanga, kulka, that is done over the head, nirvana, that is matrika bija, or japa of the mula, setu, that's generally the maha mantra om or mahabij ring, but also varies, nidra bhanga, or awakening of the mantra, or japa of the mantra, mantra chaitanya, or giving life or vitality to the mantra, mantra tabhavana, forming a mental image of the divinity, or thinking about the meaning of mantra. There are also 10 sanksaras of mantra. Dipani is 7 japa of the bija, preceded and followed by om, where hring is employed instead of om. It is prana yoga. Yoni mudra is meditation on the guru in the head and on the Ishta Devata in the heart, and then on the Yoni Rupa Bhagavati from the head to the Muladhara, and from the Muladhara to the head, making japa of the Yoni Bija 10 times. The mantra itself is Devata, that is, the Supreme Consciousness or Chit Shakti manifesting in that form. The mantra is awakened from its sleep through the sadhana Shakti of the Maitrin. It is at the base one and the same Shakti which appears as Sadhana Shakti and Mantra Shakti, the latter, however, being the more powerful manifestation. The consciousness of the sadhaka becomes en rapport and in union with the consciousness in the form of the mantra, and the Devata who is the artha of the mantra appears to the sadhaka, whose mind has been cleansed and illumined by devotion. Though the substance of the mantra is consciousness, that fact is not realized without the union of the sadhaka's Shakti derived from the sadhana with mantra Shakti. The Devata is then revealed. In the case of puja, dhyana, and other sadhanas, it is only the sadhaka's sadhana Shakti which operates, whilst in the case of mantra sadhana, Sadhana Shakti works in conjunction with Mantra Shakti, which is all-powerful and reinforces Sadhana Shakti, which is imperfect and meets with obstacles. The individual Shakti is like fire. Just as waves of air, when struck and re-struck by flames of fire, set up a blaze with redoubled force, so the sadhaka's individual Shakti, when struck by mantra Shakti, is rapidly developed, and then a strong, active individual Shakti unites with the mantra Shakti to make the latter doubly powerful. It is because mantra possesses this wonderful power that a jiva can, it is said, accomplish that which appears impossible. Otherwise, a jiva could not achieve by his own effort the treasure which is worshipped even by Shiva. The Jaiva Shakti, or Shakti of a jiva as such, is transformed by the aid of mantra into the Daiva Shakti, or the Shakti of a deva. With this Shakti, he can accomplish that which a deva can. Mantra is thus an aspect of the Divine Mother, appearing through mantra sadhana with devotion to her. It has been thus said, the string of 50 letters from A to Ksha, which are the matrikas, is eternal, unbeginning and unending, and Brahman itself. This great saying is the first of all tantras. The realization of this mantra consciousness is mantra siddhi. If a sadhaka attains perfect siddhi in even a single mantra, he becomes possessed of the spiritual knowledge which is acquired by learning all Vedas. For Veda is the parinama, or evolution of the Dvani of Kula Kundalini in the body of Ishwara, and the parinama of the same in the body of the Jiva is Shabda. For Veda is Dvani uttered by Brahma, and Shabda is Dvani uttered by the Jiva. In that, Shabda is every form of mantra, which is that which gives vitality to the Jiva. It is this Dvani too which evolves into gross Shabda as uttered sound, the body of the Devata. Siddhi in such mantra is not gained so long as such mantra is not awakened. It may be that the appearance of the Devata is a fact, or it is not a fact. But it cannot be said that mere utterance of a mantra is superstitiously supposed to effect any result, or that japa of the mantra is done with no other object than a mere vain and senseless repetition. The particular mantra suitable for a sadhaka is a matter determined by chakra and other calculations.